Fitness challenge.
His fig bars were so good I couldn't make it by him. I'm Mark Reichel. I was a lawyer with the Federal Public Defender from 1991 until they asked me to leave in 2005, and that was after a 14-year stint. And the real reason I think that I had to leave was because I was so extremely active in the NLG, actually, at the time. And what I see, if you ask me, with the advent of Trump fascism, is it's going to be a lot like the Reagan years, and I don't think anyone's going to disagree with me on that. It's going to be a lot like the Reagan years, but it'll also be a little bit like the Bush post-9/11 years, and that's when I got really active in the NLG and the ACLU actually we founded at the time, because the federal government is an unbridled monster. It's a leviathan that there's no real check, there's no check and balance whatsoever on federal law enforcement. And I would know, they threatened to indict me 16 times in my life, and to quote another attorney, and the one time they did actually try to indict me for something I hadn't actually done, so what are the odds of that? But I will tell you that I think that the advent of Trump is the advent, again, like I say, of George Bush II and Reagan. And after 9/11, the federal government, as I said, is unchecked, can do whatever it wants. And they can do whatever the fuck they want, whatever the fuck they want. And if you Google the phrase, whatever the fuck they want, if you Google the phrase, the government can do whatever the fuck they want, comma, whatever the fuck they want, my name comes up. It's a true story, and Chris would remember, it's an Elle magazine article from 2009 about the Eric McDavid case that I tried, a federal terrorism case where they had completely cheated, completely cheated, and if I haven't said completely cheated. But around 2001, after 9/11, I was asked to start helping Americans, well, residents that were of the Islamic faith, because the FBI would go to different mosques, they would just go to homes and knock on the door and go to people's work, and if they didn't talk at home or at their work, they would go to their neighbors and start problems in their community so that the people that they were trying to talk to would break down and start talking to them. And one of the things that the FBI would do actually was they were trying to get people to be informants inside of the mosque and so forth, because at the time of 9/11, the American intelligence was really caught shorthanded. They really didn't know much about that part of the world. They didn't have any intelligence. They didn't have any agents that were trained even overseas in the different languages and the cultures and so forth. So if you ask me, with Sessions and the Sessions group coming, he's kind of a dinosaur from that time. And the courts are going to be stacked very much by the Trump group, and not only will that last forever, but that's going to last one hell of a long time. But I think that the federal law enforcement will also be emboldened, because any resort to the courts is going to be a waste of time. And I mean, you can go to federal court and you are wasting your fucking time. You can go to federal court and you can complain all you want about the federal government, and you might as well go to McDonald's and have a Big Mac. It's a little more enjoyable. So, I think the call for people to be involved in NLG is wonderful. I think it'd be great if there were more lawyers that got involved in NLG, actually. And I think what would be really beneficial in these times, there are always going to be activists, if you ask me. There are always going to be people that feel that they can, be heard and go out, and they want to be heard and they want to go out. But what really makes them strong, what really makes them stronger is if there are a lot of lawyers and not just a few, because the few keep getting the same phone calls over and over. But if you're talking about this, if there's 50 lawyers in Sacramento that are really, going to be NLG warriors, I mean, locally it becomes more powerful. And I just, you can watch a protest, and you look at my office, I watch down Capitol Mall, and there's, I don't know, 2,500 people. I mean, there's lots of people that protest, and that's wonderful. But if the local chapter, with the help of other lawyers, could maybe do some type of a blast or some solicitation, or in law schools, those that recently graduated seem to have the most energy. It beat it out of me after almost 30 years. But I think more lawyers would be a beneficial thing. I was thrilled when I was a lawyer that I became an NLG lawyer one time. It was actually the biggest honor ever. I couldn't believe it. It's like I finally grew up and was an adult. That still hasn't happened, but it felt like it at the time. And there's an awesome power in being a lawyer, and if you're an NLG lawyer, you're never on the wrong side of something. It doesn't get better than that. Usually when you're a lawyer, you're kind of a hit person. You're an old-fashioned gunslinger, come to town to whatever, bring peace or kill, whatever. But I mean, you can't pick your clients. But if you're a lawyer and you're an NLG lawyer, you know, you're like I said, you're always assured of fighting for the little person versus the big government and so forth. So my thoughts today would be that if the local chapter wants the board vote and so forth, I think one of the things I'd even come to a meeting and talk about flyers or emails or some type of way to get lawyers in Sacramento, because even these, you know, conservative lawyers that work for insurance defense firms, I'll be talking to them sometimes, and they'll, you know, express to me how they're, you know, really motivated by something politically and how they would go out and, you know, throw their resources behind helping some cause. And so, you know, they might. And that would be what I would put forward today, is that after you get organized and you get ready to go, let's get a list of maybe 50 lawyers that would be proud to say they're NLG lawyers. Okay?